Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about class 12 geography. So in class 12 geography we have two books, or we can say two parts, part 1 and part 2. So here we are going to discuss about the part 1, chapter number 5. So the name of the chapter is called primary activities. So here we have the flow diagram or the flow map of primary activities, primary related activities. So in the cloud, or we can say in the box, I have put main topics of this chapter, and below that main topic we have subtopics related to that main topic. So these are the topics that we are going to learn in this chapter. So the first primary type of activities that we are going to discuss here is about hunting and gathering. So here hunting and what is meant by gathering, we are going to learn that one as first topic, and next to that we are going to learn about the pastoralism. So pastoralism is further divided into two: pastoral nomadism and nomadic hunting, and the second topic is commercial livestock rearing. So that is the second topic, and the third topic is related with agriculture. So under agriculture, based on our textbook, we have two main topics: land-based agriculture and other types of farmings. So under land-based farming or cultivation, the agriculture system is further divided into two: subsistence agriculture and commercial agriculture. So subsistence agriculture is further divided into two. There are primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. Again, the intensive subsistence agriculture is divided into two. There are intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation, and the next topic is intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crop other than wet paddy. So the second topic from the land-based cultivation is called commercial agriculture. So from commercial agriculture, we are going to learn about the characteristics of plantation agriculture, extensive commercial grain cultivation, horticulture, or we can say market gardening, and lastly we are going to discuss about the Mediterranean farming. And the second topic related with agriculture is other types of farming. So from other types of farming, we are going to discuss about the animal related farming. They are divided into two: mixed farming and dairy farming. So the next second topic related with other types of farming is called based on institution based farming. So that is further divided into two: cooperative farming and collective farming, divided into two. And the last topic from this chapter is related with mining. So under mining, we are going to learn about two main topics: factors affecting mining and types of mining. Factors affecting mining is further divided into two. We are going to discuss the two main factors: what are the economic factors and what are the physical factors that are affecting the mining activities. And lastly, we are going to discuss about the types of mining. Types of mining, we have two types. There are surface mining and underground mining. So this particular diagram is the theme of chapter number 5. So these are the topics that we are going to learn in this chapter. That means chapter number 5. Chapter number 5 is quite lengthy. So we are going to discuss about each type of primary activities one by one. So the first type of primary, so first thing is we need to know the meaning of primary activities. So here we need to know the what is meant by primary activities. So primary activities are those human activities which are related with the direct use of natural resources. So some of the examples of primary activities such as hunting and gathering, agriculture and mining. So if we talk about these types of primary activities, all these types of primary activities are directly related with the use of natural resources. So such type of activities, human activities, are called primary activities. So from primary activities, the first topic that we are going to learn here is the characteristics or the features of the hunting and gathering. So the hunting and gathering are the oldest economic activities. So before 12,000 years ago, almost all the people on this earth are engaged with these two type of activities related with the hunting and gathering. So that means hunting and gathering are the humans' first activity on this planet. Because of that, it is the oldest human activities, economic activities. So still now, at present, still some people are practicing this type of activities. That means hunting and gathering. So usually at present, this type of activities are generally practicing in region with harsh climatic conditions. So here, harsh means we have to think about two main things. That means harsh means we are talking about those regions which falls under very hot and cold climatic conditions. So these regions are called to be as regions with harsh climatic conditions. And next to that, third characteristics of this type of primary activity is these people means those people who are engaged with hunting and gathering. They are moving from one place to another places, or we can say wandering from one place to another places. Why they are moving from one places to another places means because they are searching the food, both plants and animals, and in order to find or in order to extract food, in search of food, they are using very simple tools like spears, stones and sticks in order to get the required food for them. So in short, we can say this is also called foraging. In simple word, this is called foraging. So foraging means people wandering from one place to another in search of food. It is called foraging. So the fourth characteristics related with this type of activity is they live in a very small group and very small in number. Small group means so they are not settling in a large group. They are settling with very small group. Small group means that particular group having very small number of peoples, and that small group consists of only few number of people, maximum 15. So that means they are living in a very small group and very small in number. And these type of people, they don't have any personal belongings and properties like houses and agricultural land. They don't have such type of personal properties. So at present, some gathering activities has become very important in modern times, such as the collection or the gathering of valuable medicinal herbs for modern medical uses. So that type of gathering become very commercial and important in and famous in modern times. So as we already discussed that this type of activity is mainly practiced in a region with very harsh climatic conditions. So harsh here means region with high latitude zones and low latitude zones. So high latitude zones, we can say those areas or those regions which are located very close to north and south poles. These are called high latitude zones. And low latitude zone means those regions which are located very close to the equator. These regions are called low latitude zones. So at present, so this particular map shows at present still some people are engaged or they are practicing hunting and gathering types of activities. So in nowadays they are practicing in a region with high latitude zones such as northern Canada. This one is northern Canada, northern Eurasia, and we can say southern Chile. So this one is not in our map, but southern Chile means we can say here. This is the map of southern Chile. Next to that, we can say regions with low latitude zones, such as low latitude zone means those regions which are very close to equator, such as Amazon Basin, Amazon River, and Amazon Basin, tropical Africa, northern fringe zone of Australia, interior part of Asia, northeastern part of Asia, or northeastern India part. So this particular map shows uh, those regions which where people's certain section of people are still engaged with primary type of activities. So high latitude zones and low latitude zones. So we already uh, studied about the first type of primary activity, that is called hunting and gathering. So the next topic that we are going to learn here is pastoralism. So what is meant by pastoralism? Pastoralism means raiding and grazing of animals. That is called pastoralism. So raiding and grazing of animal can be primitive, which are carried on by a nomadic, or one type of pastoralism is highly scientific on commercial basis. So these are the two types of pastoralism that we are going to discuss in this chapter. So pastoralism is further divided into two in nutshell. They are nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism. The second one is commercial animal grazing. So these are the two topics related with pastoralism. So first, here we are going to discuss about the nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism. So nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism means it is the old or traditional way of rearing, and we can say old traditional or primitive way of rearing and grazing of animals, mainly for self-consumption purposes. So this type of rearing and grazing of animal is called nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism. So following are the characteristics of pastoral nomadism. So this type of activity is nomadic herding, nomadism, pastoral nomadism is primitive subsistence activity. So this type of activity is primitive. Here we can say old or traditional way of rearing and grazing of animal, mainly for what? Self-consumption. Here the herders here means we can say those people who are rearing and grazing the animals are called herders. They are totally dependent or rely on animal for their food, clothes, shelter, and transport. So one main peculiar characteristics of this um, animal rearing and grazing is transhumance in nature. So transhumance in nature means seasonal migration of herders. So those people who are herding the animal engage with this type of animals, this type of activities, herders, uh, they are seasonally migrating from one place to another places. For example, during summer season, they will move up to the mountainous regions in order to get better grass and water for their animals. And during winter seasons, they will move down to the low-lying areas for better grass and water for their animals. So this particular seasonal movement or this particular pattern of seasonal migration of herders along with their animals, it is called transhumance in nature. So here the animals are totally dependent on natural resources. So here natural resources means we can say uh, grass and water for their animals. Because of that, here they are dependent, animals are dependent on natural resources. Natural resources here means grass and waters. Because of that, they are migrating on a seasonal basis. Because of the animals are totally rely on the natural resources. So types of animals reared. So based on geographical condition, different types of animals are reared and graze in different geographical regions of the world. so so flowing are the different types of animals are reared and graze in different part of the world based on different geographical conditions, such as in area of high rainfalls and tall grassland. So we can say India, we have high rainfall and tall grassland. In such areas, they are rearing and grazing animals such as cattle. They are usually rearing the cattle. Cattle means cows, ox, this type of animals. They are rearing this type of animals. And in area with scanty rainfalls means regions receiving um, low rainfall regions and short grassland areas, they are mostly rearing and grazing animals such as sheep. They are usually rearing the sheep. And in the areas of scanty grassland and thorny bushes. So here scanty um, scanty grassland means, and thorny bushes means, we can say in desert regions we have mostly vegetation such as thorny bushes, because here the leaves of the trees are modified into thorn in order to reduce the amount of evaporation or transpirations. So we can, in desert region, people are rearing goats, camels. So these are the different types of animals are rearing in different regions of the world. So here, this particular map shows regions where still some people are practicing pastoral nomadism or nomadic herding. So the first region is an extensive region. Extensive means large region extended from Sahel to Sahara. So here I have made a red line, this particular red line. So these all dark shaded one, black shaded one region indicates an extensive region, large region from Sahel to Sahara in Africa. Then we move to Central America, and then Mongolia and Central China. So in this region, still some people are practicing uh, pastoral nomadism, and we can say tundra region in Eurasia, and we can say southwestern Africa, and Western Madagascar Island. So in this region, still some people are doing pastoral nomadism. Next type of nomadism is nomadism is called commercial livestock rearing. So the following are the characteristics of commercial livestock rearing. So this type of uh, rearing and grazing of animal is mainly for commercial purposes. So commercial livestock rearing, we can say it is the modern, or it is the scientific modern way of rearing and grazing of animals, mainly for commercial purposes. So that type of activities, rearing and grazing of animals, are called commercial livestock rearing. So as compared to nomadic herding, commercial livestock rearing is more organized, and they are more capital intensive. That means they have to spend more money in order to practice such type of activities. And this type of rearing of animals is mainly based on modern scientific way. So in here, this type of herding is not totally dependent on natural grassland. So here, um, the animals are not dependent on natural grassland. Why means they are cultivating the fodder crops in the field, and sometimes they are buying fodder crops from farmers. So they are settling. They are not moving from one place to another place. They are settled in one place. Because of that, they are cultivating the fodder crops, and on above they are buying the fodder crops from the farmers. So the modern, so here they are practicing modern breed of cattle, means they are breeding the cattle in order to get better offsprings, such as they are breeding animals such as sheep, goat, and horses. There are more emphasis on breeding of animals, improvement of animal disease control, and health care of the animals. So this particular map shows the distribution of commercial livestock rearing in the world. So still, so nowadays, so flowing map indicates the regions where commercial livestock rearing is practicing. So regions such as, we can say, New Zealand. Here we have New Zealand, we have Australia, we have Argentina and Uruguay, and western part of USA. So these are the region where people are practicing commercial livestock rearing. So the third topic that we are going to cover up in this chapter is about agriculture. So based on method of farming, so method of farming means what type of tools that they are using and what type of crop that they are cultivating. That means method of farming. Different types of crops are grown, and livestock are raised on different environmental conditions. So flowing are the main agriculture system. So here the agriculture is called agriculture system. Why? It means in order to cultivate a particular crop, we have to do three main activities. First is we have to input. Input includes, in order to cultivate the crop, we need seeds, we need water, we need tools in order to cultivate the crop. That is called input. Then next is activity is called process. So in order to grow the crops, we have to take care of the crops. That is called process, the development of crops. And finally, we are harvesting the crop. That is called output. So because of that, agriculture is also called agriculture system. So based on that, the agriculture in the world are divided into flowing ways. First one is subsistence agriculture. So subsistence agriculture is further divided into two. So subsistence here means self-consumption. So here the cultivation of crop is done mainly for the self-consumption purposes, not for commercial purposes. So subsistence agriculture is further divided into two. There are primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. So under the subsistence agriculture, we are going to discuss about the two main topics: primitive and intensive subsistence agriculture. So first type of subsistence agriculture that we are going to discuss in this chapter is primitive subsistence agriculture. So primitive, we can say primitive means old or traditional way of cultivation of crop is done mainly for self-consumption. That is called primitive subsistence agriculture. So this is the primary form of agriculture, or old or traditional form of agriculture. So this type form of agriculture was practiced by the people when people get knowledge about the utilization of soil and uh, cultivation of crops. So this is the oldest or the most traditional way of cultivation of crops. So flowing are the characteristics of primitive subsistence agriculture. So characteristics we can also called as characteristics or features. So primitive subsistence agriculture, the size of agricultural land is very, very small. This type of agriculture is also called slash and burn agriculture. So in order to cultivate the crop, we have to make the agricultural land. First thing, we have to slash, we have to cut the trees. So that is called slash. And next to, after the trees are dried off, we have to burn these trees. So that is called, this type of agriculture system is also called slash and burn agriculture. So here in this type of agriculture, they are using very primitive or very simple tools in order to cultivate the crops. So what type of crop that they are cultivating means tobacco, tapioca, cassava, maize, millet, and hilly rice. They are cultivating this type of crops. And after 4 to 5 years of cultivation on the same agricultural land, they are moving to another agricultural land, because after the exhaustion of the agricultural land, they are moving from every 4 to 5 years, they are moving to another agricultural land, and again they are doing same thing by slashing and burning. They are doing the slash and burn agriculture, and again they are staying on that particular patch of land. They are cultivating crop for 4 to 5 years, and again they are moving to another places. Again they are doing same procedure, slash and burn. Again they are moving to another places. Again they are doing same thing. Sometimes they are moving to back to the previous land. So that particular pattern of movement, so every 4 to 5 years they are moving from one place to another places after the exhaustion of the fertility of the soil. So because of that, this type of agriculture is also called shifting agriculture. So at present, so this type of agriculture is the oldest form of agriculture, but still some people are engaged with this type of agriculture, mostly in where means tropical rainforest region, mostly by tribal peoples. So primitive subsistence agriculture, we have many names. First one is primitive subsistence agriculture. Second one is slash and burn agriculture, because every 4 to 5 years they are doing slash and burn in order to make agricultural land, and every 4 to 5 years they are moving from one agricultural land place to another agricultural land. So because of that, this type of agriculture is also called shifting agriculture. So we have many names for shifting agriculture or primitive subsistence agriculture. So these are the types of crops that they are mostly cultivating. So cassava and tapioca, maize and millets. So these are the types of crops that they are cultivating in the primitive subsistence agriculture practices. So another main characteristics of this type of agriculture is the shortage of cereals is fulfilled by hunting and fishing and gathering. So apart from doing the agriculture, they are also engaged with, or we can say, the alternative source of income that they are doing alternative activities they are doing. They are engaged with hunting of animals, fishing, and gathering of medicinal herbs and fruits. So here the low per hectare production. So per hectare production in a year is much lower as compared to other agricultural systems. So here per hectare production is very low. So the shifting agriculture or the primitive subsistence or this one primitive subsistence agriculture is known by different names in different parts of the world. So the common name for uh, primitive subsistence agriculture are slash and burn agriculture, shifting agriculture, and we can say primitive subsistence agriculture. But shifting agriculture is known by different names in different regions of the world. So if we talk about zooming, so it is called zooming in northeastern India, Indian states. So the shifting agriculture in northeast India, it is called zooming. And if we talk about in Indonesia, the shifting agriculture is called landang. And in Central America, the shifting agriculture is called masol. And in Central America, it is called milpa. So these are the different names for shifting agriculture. So the next type of agriculture is intensive subsistence agriculture. So subsistence agriculture, we have two types, right? Primitive and intensive subsistence agriculture. So intensive subsistence agriculture is further divided into two. There are intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation and intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crop other than paddy. So intensive subsistence agriculture, it is largely practiced or found in densely populated region of monsoon Asia. So below in this picture we have one map. So in that map I have made a red circle. So inside red circle we have a region with a dark shaded one and a regions with light shaded one. So these are the region where intensive subsistence agriculture is practiced by peoples settled in these regions. So this type of agriculture is further divided into two. Intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation, and the second is intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crop other than paddy. So here we need to know what is meant by intensive. So we already know what is meant by subsistence, right? Subsistence means cultivation of crop that is done mainly for self-consumption, not for commercial purposes. So here they have added one word, that is intensive. So what is meant by intensive? So here intensive means intensive use of agricultural land. So how we can say intensive use of agricultural land here means, so in a year they are cultivating two or more than two crops in same agricultural land during 1 year. So because of that they are using that particular agricultural land in an intensive way. Because of that they are called, this type of agriculture is called intensive. So they are cultivating two or more than two crops in a same agricultural land. Why means in order to subsist themselves, because in these regions they have a very high density of population, but the size of agricultural land is very small. So in order to subsist themselves from the small agricultural land, they are cultivating two or more than two crops in a same agriculture land during one agriculture year. Because of that it is called intensive, and they are cultivating two or more than two crops because mainly for means for self-subsistence, for self-consumption purposes. So intensive subsistence is further divided into two: intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation, and intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by other than wet paddy. So intensive subsistence agriculture is further divided into two. So the following are the characteristics of intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation. So the characteristics or features are, so in this type of agriculture they are mostly cultivating rice crops. So here we have to understand what is meant by dominated. So dominated means mostly. So in a year, if a particular farmer is cultivating three crops in a year in a same agricultural land, means suppose that particular farmer is cultivating two rice and one wheat. That means dominantly or mostly what he is cultivating means he is cultivating what? Rice. Two rice in a year. That means dominated by. So mostly they are cultivating rice, more rice in that particular agricultural land. Because of that it is called dominated by rice crops. So here the agricultural lands are, or the farming lands are very small. Why means here in these regions, uh, the high density of population, because of high density of population, so the size of agricultural lands are very small. Because of that the second characteristic is called small land holding, because of large size of population. And they are intensive use of land. That means they are cultivating two or more than two crops in a same agricultural land during 1 year, or we can say one agricultural year. Because of that it is called intensive use of land. Here limited use of machinery means they are using less machines in agricultural practices or agricultural operations. So less use of machines, and most of the agricultural operations are done with help of what means family members. So here they are not using fertilizers much. Mostly they are using manures, that we can say biofertilizer. They are using biofertilizers. Here the per unit area production is high but low per level productivity. So what here we have to understand from this sentence means, so in a year, in a same agricultural land, they are cultivating two or more than two crops. That means per unit here means per hectare. In a 1 hectare agricultural land, they are cultivating two or more than two crops. Because of that, in a year, the per hectare production is high. But because of many laborers, we have high density population. That means many laborers are engaged in agricultural activities. Because of, if we divide the agricultural output per head, means the per labor productivity is low. Per labor output is very low because of large laborers. Many laborers are engaged in small agricultural land. And here, apart from rainfall, they are also using irrigation facilities because rice is a water intensive crops. So if the monsoon fails, means they are searching for alternative sources of water or moisture for the soil. So that is through irrigation they are doing the cultivation of rice. So in dark region they are cultivating rice, mainly rice. Why? Means because in this region they are receiving more rainfall as compared to those regions which are light shaded one. Because of that, they are capable for cultivation of rice in this region as compared to the light shaded one. So the next topic related with subsistence agriculture is intensive subsistence agriculture. So intensive subsistence agriculture, so another type of intensive subsistence agriculture is dominated by crops other than paddy. So other than paddy means we can say rice. So other than rice, what they are cultivating? Crops such as, other than paddy, such as mostly they are cultivating wheat. So below we have images, right? Wheat and soya beans, barley and millets. So these are the types of crop that they are cultivating other in intensive subsistence agriculture other than wet paddy. So here the most of characteristics are same as above. Intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy except irrigation. So the characteristics of intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by other than wet paddies will remain same except irrigation, because in this type of agriculture they are cultivating less water intensive crops such as wheat, barley and millets. So in order to cultivate these crops we need less amount of water in order to grow these type of crops. Grow and the development of these types of crop we need a less amount of water. So here in this type of agriculture, intensive subsistence agriculture, they are not using irrigation because these crops are less water intensive crops. So except irrigation, all the features are same as the intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy. So these are the types of crops that they are cultivating. So the next type of agriculture is plantation agriculture. So plantation agriculture is a commercial type of land-based agriculture with commercial types of agriculture. So plantation agriculture is introduced by European Indian colonies situated in uh, situated in uh, the tropical region. So here I have made two red lines. So this, in between these two red lines we have countries such as African countries, many African countries, most of the African countries, some of the South and Southeast East Asian countries, and Latin American and some of the Central American countries are uh, located in this region. So here they have mentioned tropical. Why means in between Tropic of Cancer, and in those countries which are located in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So those countries which are located in between these two latitudes are known as tropical countries. So the plantation agriculture, cultivation of plantation agriculture is introduced by European countries. So European country, they colonized those countries which are located in the tropical countries in these regions. European countries such as French, Dutch, British, and Portuguese, they colonized African countries, South and Southeast Asian countries, and South American and Latin American countries, or we can say Central American countries. So plantation agriculture was introduced by European countries in their colonies in African countries, South Asia, Southeast Asian, Central America, and South American countries. So the cultivation of plantation agriculture is introduced by European countries in their colonies. So these colonies are mostly located in where means tropical regions. So what are the important plantation crops that they are cultivating means plantation crops such as tea, coffee. So this is coffee bean, coca, rubber, cotton, and banana. So these are some of the examples of plantation crops that they are cultivating in tropical regions. So the following are the characteristics. Large estate or area for the plantation. So in order to cultivate or in order to practice plantation agriculture, they need a large agricultural land, large estate. So in order to practice this type of agriculture, it is very capital intensive. We have to spend huge amount of money in order to start such type of agriculture. So mostly they're cultivating a single crop. That means tea means they're cultivating only tea. Rubber means they're cultivating only rubber. Because of that, they are called monoculture. They are specialized in cultivation of one crop. In order to practice this type of agriculture, they need a very cheap labor, and they need a very good transportation system that links from tea estate or estate to factory, and from factory to market, because these type of agriculture are generally perishable in nature. So distribution are coca and coffee plantation in West Africa established by French. So West Africa means this region belongs to West Africa. So here they are cultivating mostly coca and coffee. So they are famous for the production of coffee and coca in the world. And if you talk about India and Sri Lanka, they are famous for cultivation of tea, and the cultivation of tea is introduced by British in India. And in West Indies, they are famous for cultivation of sugarcane and banana. So these are the distribution of plantation agriculture in the world. So the next type of commercial agriculture that we are going to discuss here is extensive commercial grain cultivation. So here we have to understand what is meant by extensive. So here extensive means the size of agricultural land that is very large. Because of that, that is called extensive. So they are cultivating the agricultural land. The size of the agricultural land is very big or large, and mostly they are cultivating for commercial purposes. And what type of crop that they are cultivating means they are cultivating grains. Grains means we can say wheat. So extensive commercial grain cultivation is mainly practiced in where means mid latitude zones. So this is mid latitude zones. Near to equator we can say low latitude zone. Near to polar regions we can say high latitude zones, and in between that we have low mid latitude zones. So extensive commercial grain cultivation is practiced in mid latitude zones. So these shaded ones are the regions where extensive commercial grain cultivation is practicing nowadays in the world. These are the regions. Mid-latitude zones. So what type of crop that they are cultivating means we already know that grains. So grains, under grains, we can say mostly wheat. Mostly they are cultivating wheat. Apart from wheat, they are cultivating corn, barley, oat, rye. So these are some of the pictures of crops they are cultivating in extensive commercial grain cultivation. So here the size of the agricultural lands are very large or big. Because of that, this type of agricultures are called extensive. Because of the size of land, agricultural land is very big. And this type of agriculture, they are mostly using machines, machine oriented, highly mechanized. In this type of agriculture, low yield per hectare but high yield per capita. So here that means in a year, as compared to intensive, in a year they're cultivating only one crops. So mostly these agricultural land belongs to a semi-arid regions, low rainfall region. Because of that, they are cultivating less water intensive crop, that is wheat. And here they are only cultivating one crops in a year. Because of that, per hectare production in a year is very low as compared to intensive type of agriculture, but high yield per capita. See here, two people. One is operating the multiple harvesting machine, and another one is he or she is operating the trucks, or we can say he's driving the trucks. So these two machine, the two machine is equal to 50 people's work is doing by these two machines. So if we divide, so here only two people is doing the agriculture activities. So if we divide per labor production, here is much higher, because here mostly agriculture operations are done with help of machine. Because of that, per labor production is much higher here as compared to intensive type of agriculture. The farming lands are very big, mostly semi-arid regions that they are cultivating wheat. So the next type of commercial type of agriculture that we are going to discuss here is mixed farming. So what is meant by mixed farming? So mixed farming means when the cultivation of crops and uh, livestock rearing is practiced together. Cultivation of crops and livestock rearing is practiced together. It is called mixed farming. Because of that, it is called mixed farming. So here they are doing two activities together. Cultivation of crops as well as livestock rearing is practiced together. Because of that, this is called mixed farming. So as compared to intensive and as compared to extensive, the farming size here are moderate in size, not that much big, not that much small. So major crops that they are cultivating in this type of agriculture are wheat, oat, maize, and fodder crops. Fodder crops means we can say animal foods, and root crops also they are cultivating. And what type of animals that they are rearing means cattle, pig, sheep, poultries. So these are the main type animals that they are rearing in this type of agriculture, poultry. So here they are practicing crop rotation. So yearly they are cultivating different types of crop in a same field, in order to maintain or in order to restore the soil fertility of the soil. So here they are using extensive use of chemical fertilizer. So this is chemical fertilizer and this is manure. So here mostly they are using fertilizers in order to cultivate the crops. So practice in highly developed part of the world. So this type of agriculture is practiced mostly in the highly developed part of the world, such as Western Europe's, Northeastern America, and Eurasian regions. They are practicing in these regions, highly developed part of the world. The next type of commercial agriculture that we are going to discuss here is dairy farming. So what is meant by dairy farming? So dairy farming, it is the advanced and efficient type of rearing of milk animals. So as compared to nomad and pastonomadism, this type of rearing of milk animal is more advanced and more efficient way. So here below we have two images. One is modern way of milking the animals and another one is traditional way of milking the animals. So this one is called the advanced and more efficient type of rearing of milk animals, and in a modern way. This is in a traditional way of rearing of milk animals. So dairy farming, they emphasis on cattle breeding. So this picture shows cattle breeding, and they are taking care of animals' health, and they also have veterinaries, animal related diseases. And this type of farming is highly labor. They need lots of labors and capital intensive. Capital means they have to spend huge amount of money in order to set up or in order to operate this type of farm agriculture. So dairy farming practice mainly near urban and industrial centers for markets. So this type of agriculture is mainly practiced near to the urban areas, near to the towns and cities, because they are selling milk to the those people who are living in urban areas, and apart from that, they are selling their product to the industries to earn profit. So mostly dairy farming, dairy type of farming, they are located near to the urban area. Good transportation system or link with urban areas. So that is their main market motive in order to operate this type of activity, primary activity. So they need good transportation and good refrigeration and pasteurization, because dairy farming is perishable in nature again. So distribution. So three main regions are Northwestern Europe, Canada, Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. So in these regions where dairy farming is widely practicing nowadays. The next type of commercial agriculture is Mediterranean farming. So first thing is we need to know what is meant by Mediterranean. So here we have one arrow, right? So here we have one big sea. So this particular name of this particular sea is called Mediterranean Sea. So around the Mediterranean Sea, here we have dark shaded one. So in this region they are cultivating a specialized crop, that is grapes. So Mediterranean farming. So when the cultivation of grapes or citrus fruits done are carried around the Mediterranean regions of the world, then it is called as a Mediterranean farming. So they are highly specialized commercial agriculture. Mainly they are cultivating grapes mainly for, they are specialized for cultivation of what means viticulture. They are specialized in cultivation, highly specialized in cultivation of grape cultivation. That is called highly specialized, mainly for commercial purposes to earn profit, more and more profit. So this type of cultivation is done around the Mediterranean region. Both sides of Mediterranean region means southern European countries and northern African countries. So these regions, they are practicing the cultivation of grapes or citrus fruit. Because of that, this type of farming is called Mediterranean farming. Why means because this type of cultivation is done around the Mediterranean Sea. Because of that, this type of agriculture is called Mediterranean farming. This region is important suppliers of citrus fruits. Citrus fruits, we can say orange, grapes. These are the types of citrus fruits. They are important supply of citrus fruits in the world. Next type of agriculture that we are going to discuss here is the commercial type of agriculture is horticulture or market gardening. So what is meant by horticulture or what is meant by market gardening? So horticulture or market gardening means when the cultivation of fruit, flowers and vegetables are done mainly for whom means urban people. then it is called horticulture. So those people who are living in towns and city, they also need vegetables, fruits and flowers. So in order to fulfill these demand, some people are doing a particular or specialized in the cultivation of vegetable, fruits and flowers. Because of that, that is called horticulture. So their main market is urban people. So farm sites are small and they are located very near to good transportation link with urban or towns and cities, because their main market is urban, and if we sell if they sell these goods to urban people means they will get more money. In order to operate this type of activities, this one is very labor and capital intensive. There are more emphasis. They are doing the cultivation of fruit, flower, vegetable with help of irrigation, fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, and greenhouses. So these are, we can also called input in order to practice the horticulture or market gardening. Next is truck farming. So what is truck farming? Means truck farming is a type of horticulture, but in truck farming they are cultivating only vegetables only. So they are cultivating vegetables for whom is again same thing for urban people. So that is called truck farming. Truck farming is a type of horticulture, but they are specialized only in cultivation of vegetables for urban people. Same thing. Market is same urban, but they are more specialized in cultivation of vegetables. So why they are called truck farming means a truck can cover the distance from farm to market in an overnight distance. Hence it is called or known as truck farming. For example, if a farming land is located at Dharamshala and city is in at Delhi, then if a truck moved from Dharamshala uh, at 5 p.m. at the evening, and the truck will cover the distance reach the Delhi at the morning 5 or 6 a.m. That means a truck can cover an overnight distance. So the distance between farming land and the urban area is an overnight distance, and here the vegetables are mostly transported with the help of truck. Because of that, it is called truck farming. So distribution: Western European countries, Western Europe's, Northeastern America, and Mediterranean region. They are cultivated in these regions. So the last type of primary activity from this chapter is mining. So what is mean by mining? Mining is a process, or mining is a process of extracting, digging out, or taking out of valuable. What is mean by valuable? So valuable means anything that is useful for us. That is called valuable. Digging or taking out of valuable metallic and non-metallic from the earth surface, it is called mining. So the actual development of mining, extracting and digging out of valuable mineral takes place after the Industrial Revolution, that means 1750s, and its importance the mining become more important after Industrial Revolution, because the demand for the minerals have rise after the Industrial Revolution. So factors affecting the mining activities. So we have two main factors: physical factors and economic factors. So under physical factors, size of minerals. So if we say size of mineral means small mineral deposit and large mineral deposit. So if a particular area, the size of mineral is very small or not that much big, size of mineral means, then usually in such area the mining will not take places, because the size of mineral is not very big. So if on another hand, if the size of mineral is very large and a particular region it has a rich mineral deposit means, then definitely the mining activities will take place. So that one is the first factor, physical factor, size of the mineral. Next one is depth of the minerals. Some minerals are located on the surface of the earth, and some minerals are located deep within our earth. So usually those minerals which are located deep below our earth, it is very difficult to take out these minerals. So usually most of the mining activities takes place on surface mines. So depth of the mineral also affect the mining activities. Last one is location of minerals. So some minerals are located in a very remote area. Here the very remote area means inaccessible areas, such as where there's no roadways and railway links. So usually the mining activities in such regions will not take places. If the minerals are very important and necessary, then possibly the mining activities take place. Other than other than that, the mining activities will not take places in such areas or regions, because we have to build or we have to construct railways and roadways in order to do mining activities in these regions. The next factor is economic factors. So the demand of minerals. So some minerals we have huge demand in the international market, like iron, copper. So usually um, uh, region which has these types of mineral deposit means then definitely the mining activities will take place. If the demand of minerals are not that much high in the international market means then the mining activities will not take place. Then availability of cheap labor. So in order to compete in international market to sell the uh, minerals, so they need a very cheap labor in order to compete with the opponent sellers of same minerals. So it is very necessary to have a very cheap labor in a particular region in order to compete in international market. Lastly, availability of capital. Capital means in order to do mining activities, we need lots of money, machine, and manpower. So that is also very important factors in order to do mining activities. So these are the two set of factors which are affecting the mining activities in the world. So method of mining, we have two types. Surface mining, it is also called open cast mining. When it is used when ore means minerals lie over the earth's surface. So this is earth's surface. Then it is called surface mining. So as compared to underground mining, this type of mining activity is more easy, more safe, and more cheap as compared to underground mining. In the world, about 90% of mines, both metallic and non-metallic, are of surface mining. And if we talk about non-metallic, 99% of non-metallic minerals are evacuated or extracted from surface type of mining, not from underground mining. So these are the method of mining, is the characteristics of surface mining. Next one is underground mining or shaft mining. It is used when ore minerals are located deep below our earth. Then it is called underground mining. So as compared to surface mining, this type of mining, underground mining is more risky. The roof of the mining may collapse. So more risky, more costly, and more difficult as compared to this type of mining. So this type of mining, vertical and horizontal tunnels are made, and minerals are brought by lift operating in the shaft or lift system. So in order to do this type of activity, they have to make both vertical and horizontal tunnels in order to extract the required minerals from the earth crust. This is the horizontal this one tunnel in underground mining. Thank you.